Okay, hello guys and welcome back to Chris Flies Planes. Chris here of course, and today we are flying the beautiful P-51D Mustang in DCS. So today we are going to do a startup and taxi tutorial. We'll then obviously be doing a takeoff and landing tutorial, and then we're going to jump in and get going with some of the missions and the campaign in this beautiful aircraft. I really love it. World War II tail drag, obviously very famous, infamous aircraft. So let's get going. So we're going to jump in the cockpit here and run through our pre-start check. So first things first, we're going to check our flap handle is up. Let's get rid of a pilot by right shift P. So flap handle is this yellow chappy down here, and that should be up. I've got that mapped as well, so we're going to make sure that's all the way up. You'll see actually outside that the flaps will remain down as we haven't got the electrical system started yet, but that will be all changed very soon. Our ram air control should be on ram air, and this guy should be on normal. So that is fine. Next up we have the trim here. So if we just look at the trim, we're going to set the rudder trim to 6 degrees right. This is just to counteract the propeller as we taxi and take off. And the elevator is going to be set to 2 degrees nose heavy, just to counteract the weight of the fuel here. Obviously these will be changed once we're up in the air. Next up, landing gear lever is down, which it is. That is this guy here. We are going to get our mixture to idle cutoff. This kind of throttle quadrant here is quite difficult to see, but currently we're in idle cutoff, then we're in run, and then we're in the one after run. I can't remember the name of that. Emergency full rich. So we're going to make sure that is in idle cutoff. We're going to increase our propeller RPM all the way forward. So I've got this mapped to a rotary knob on my throttle, but if it's all the way down and you can't see it and you don't have it mapped, just shift the throttle forwards a little bit and you can click it, drag it all the way to increase. We're going to open the throttle about 1 inch, which is probably around there. We're going to pop up to our gun sight here, and we're going to make sure that is set on fixed, which is that guy, and this guy should be switched on. We're going to check our armament switches and make sure everything is safe. So if we look at the rockets, they are safe. If we look at the guns, they are off, and if we look at the bomb switch, left and right here, so that's on, off. Fantastic. Altimeter should be set at 0, or you can set it at the airfield elevation. So if you want to do that, you just pop into your map here, get it centered, and we can see wherever it's Tbilisi. If you click that guy, there we go. You can see the elevation is at actually 1523 meters. So if you pop here, you can set this up to 1523 meters. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to set it down to 0. If it will let me. Perfect. There we go. We're going to make sure this is uncaged just by mouse wheeling on that little guy there. Check the controls are free and steady. Perfect. I love the clunking of these strictly mechanical aircraft. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to set the parking brake. So to do this, we're going to pull and hold this lever. We're going to apply both wheel brakes. We're going to release both wheel brakes, and we're going to let go of the lever. And that will now be locked in. To release that, you just pull both the wheel brakes, which I've got mapped on my throttle. Okay, next up, we're going to make sure the supercharger is set to auto, which it is. Make sure that's guarded. Fuel shutoff valve should be on, which is down here. I'm going to pop that onto on. Our fuel selector valve should be set to the left wing tank. So this is this guy here. As you can see, right hand combat, left hand combat, main tank on the right hand, and this is main left hand tank, which is what we should be set up. Okay, fuel booster should be set on, which is this guy here. Battery and generator switches should be on. And you're now going to hear everything kind of kick into action. If we look outside now, you should hopefully see the flaps come up fairly soon, I believe. Maybe? Hopefully? Flaps? Maybe that's not until the engine started for the hydraulic system. That's fair enough. Okay, now we have a coolant and oil radiator flap control switches. These are just to control the temperature of your coolant and your oil, obviously. These should both be set to fully open on the ground. You can either do that by clicking, or in my case I have them both mapped. So it's going to hold them both on open until the noise stops. hopefully. There we go, so they are both open. We're going to set those to automatic before we take off, but we just set them both to fully open just to make sure that on the ground we do not overheat. Okay, round to the radio. Radio is only going to work if you have preset the frequencies in the mission planner, which I have done, just for it to make life easier. There's an on and off switch here. I don't think it makes a difference. There is a test switch here, which doesn't do anything. There is a volume thing, which I'm not sure does anything, and a signal light. But this is, I think actually this whole thing is, oh no, this is our tail warning radar. Sorry, this is a really cool thing. This will show us if there's someone on our tail based on a radar behind us, which is pretty cool. It's like an RWR on an actual fighter jet. Okay, so as I was saying, this is the Vhf radio here. You have to set A, B, C, and D automatically, manually in the mission planner, which I have done. So if we just flick that onto B, and then we trigger this, we can go to ATC and request our startup.
Pontiac 1-1, request startup. Pontiac 1-1, Martini, cleared for startup, wind 341 at 2 meters per second.
You see Boyo over there, our wingman, was eager to go there. So we're going to get going. It does recommend that you do all this in taxi with the canopy closed. Stop the cabin overheating. I'm not going to, just because it's a little bit quieter, and obviously I'm recording for you guys, so having things be a little bit quieter is a little bit better for us. So that is the canopy close. Okay, to start up, we're going to start by priming this guy for about 3 or 4 seconds. And then if we just open this guard, this is our starter. I have it mapped on my throttle just to make this a little bit easier. I recommend you do the same, have it mapped on your throttle or on your keyboard or something. We're going to flick that on. Going to flick the ignition switch to both. We're going to come down here and we're going to set the mixture to run. And then we can release the starter and guard that. And you can now hear we are running, which is fantastic news. First thing we want to check after we run is that the oil pressure is above 50, which it is. Next up, we're going to advance the throttle up to about 1200 RPM. You need to be careful, because any more than that, you will start rolling forwards. You can just push it forwards just a little bit up to 1200 there. And then, let me have a look here. It's got a checklist. You'll see the oil temperature, that should come up to around 40 degrees, and the pressure should be steady. The pressure is stabilizing, and we will see that oil temperature come up. I'm not going to sit around here and wait the entire time for that to happen. But it's all fine. Suction gauge should be showing between 3.75 and 4.25 inches of vacuum pressure, which it is. Just about-ish. Maybe it will when it comes up to temperature, but it is close enough. I'm not too worried. That's basically everything in terms of the pre-start and starting checklist. We have a warning light. Oh, that was our
Gina, Pontiac 1-1,
okay. Not sure why that happened. That was our rear warning radar. So we request my taxi. Or takeoff, sorry. Okay, if we just have a look at the map here, runway 31 is obviously down here. So we're going to be taxiing to the end here, turning left and continuing around down there. So let's talk about taxiing. So obviously hold the wheel brakes, get our parking brakes off, and what we're going to do, which way did I say we were going? We're going forwards and then left. What you want to do is pull back on your stick, and this is going to lock down the nose wheel steering, and you're going to be steering with rudder and left and right wheel brake. So if we just advance the throttle forwards, just a nudge there, when you're at about 15%, you'll see that you will get a slight turn using the throttle, but it is fairly minimal. If you need to boost that, you just pull the old wheel brake, and it will chuck you around that turn a little bit faster. So I'm just going to do here, and we are going to taxi out onto here. This is the Alpha taxiway here. We just jump out the plane here and have a look. See our boyo is behind us there. Something I do recommend in any tail draggers is you taxi in an S, just to make sure you can see where you're going. We are going over there. It's also to make sure there's nothing in front of you, but I'm not so worried because I do know where we're going and I know there's no one in front of us. I really love flying this plane, guys. It's definitely a lot more challenging than flying the modern fighters. Obviously, there's a little bit more to know with the Mirage, etc. But it's just so satisfying playing this plane. It sounds incredible. It's really easy to screw up. Let's check our map here. It's very easy to screw up, which is kind of fun in itself. And yeah, just super fun. Check where we're going here. Kind of somewhat swung off the old taxiway there. And it is just a real bitch to see in these tail draggers. We're going to pop ourselves around here. We just turn that AMPR radio on again. Should hear it ding in a moment as our wingman comes up behind us. How are we looking here? We're looking pretty great. And again, we're pretty much doing this entire taxi just with the rudder while holding the stick back to lock the nose wheels. It's very easy to screw up the nose wheel and put yourself in a situation which is very hard to recover from, especially given DCS's exceptionally sticky grass. A little bit of right wheel braking there and get ourselves lined up down the runway. And with that, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. The next video will be the takeoff, flying a circuit, talk a little bit about some of the systems in the plane, and then landing. But I really hope you enjoyed the startup tutorial in this absolutely magnificent World War II Mustang. Let me know what you think, and fly safe, guys.